Good morning, first grade. We are going to have a short literacy lesson today. I know a lot of you have been working really hard. Some of us still need to catch up though. So we're going to have about half the length that we would usually have. And then I thought I would do a read aloud so that we have something fun to do to finish the week. Well, because I like reading, and this year I like reading to students, but this year I'm just teaching literacy, so I don't get to read. So I wanted to read to you at the end of this. Okay, so let's get out our box paper. You know, I think this is our last day of using box paper. This helps us learn our spaces, but we're getting a little bit more grown up. We're learning how to space our words and our phonograms without this. So I think this might be our last day of box paper. All right, so we're going to be working on clock stroke letters for these words. So class, where does a clock stroke letter start? Good, it starts over a space just below the dotted line, touch 2 on the clock. So, except there's one phonogram that's a clock stroke letter that has a different starting space. Can you tell me that sound? If you said f, you are just right. And where does our f start? Very good. Over a space just below the top baseline, touch 2 on the clock. So it's still at 2, but instead of being below the dotted line, it's below the top baseline. But all of our letters are going to start over a space and just below a line at 2 on the clock. All right, so in the first box, write k, s. What are you going to write? Good. K, s. All right, so remember, we tell our pencils how to move, and then we say the sound after. As soon as we know how to make the letters correctly every time, we stop saying the sound. We stop telling our pencils how to move, and we just say the sounds while we write it. And I'm looking forward to that. But we can't do that until we make it the right way every time. All right, in the next box, write a, ah. What are you going to write? Great, so find your starting spot and tell your pencil how to move. And make sure you say it at the end, what you wrote. All right, in the next box, we're going to write g, j. What are we going to write? Good, g, j. So find the starting spot and tell your pencil how to move. All right, we'll skip a box. In the next box, we'll write d. Where do we start d? Good, over a space just below the dotted line, touch 2 on the clock, and tell your pencil how to move. All right, good. In the next box, write ah, o, oo. And remember to say the sounds after you finish writing it. All right, the next box we're going to write s, z. What are we going to write? Good, s, z. All right, we'll skip a box. In the next box, write a, ah. What are you going to write? Good. Tell your pencil how to move and say it at the end. All right, in our last box, we're going to write f. What are you going to write in the last box? Excellent. All right. So when you're finished, put your pencil down. Then you get to be the teacher and tell me what to write. All right, so if you're not finished, pause the video and finish up, and then unpause it when you have all your boxes written in. All right, class, what goes here? Good. All right, so I start where all my clock letters start. Come around to 4. What's in the next box? Good. A, ah. All right. So that one, remember our A, ah, after we go around, we pull a straight line down to the baseline. All right, what goes in our next box? Good. G, j. So starting it at 2, go around, down, and then curve back towards the margin. Remember, we go towards the margin. Not, what does this arrow show? Good. We don't go in the direction we read and write for this one. We curve back to towards the margin. All right, we'll skip a box. What goes in the next box? Good. D. All right. So remember, if we want to make that correct every time, we just started at 2, and then we have to make it the right way. All right, what goes in our next box? Good. Ah, oh, oo. And how about the last phonogram in this word? Good. S, z. All right. So that starts at 2, goes to 10, then we go across to 4 and backwards to the baseline in 8. S, z. All right, so while we're going along, if your letter doesn't look like mine, make it look like mine. All right, we'll skip this box. What goes here? Good. A, ah. And in the next box? Good. So over a space just below the top baseline, touch 2 on the clock, and then a short dash stroke right above that dotted line. Okay. So when you were telling me the sounds, you were telling me all of the sounds of the phonograms. But remember, a phonogram can only ever make one sound when it's in a word. And what sound have we been saying for all of our words that we've been writing so far? Good, we've been saying the first sound. So we'll go back, and for each word, I want you to just tell me the first sound of the phonogram, and then we'll put them together. Good, so it's k, a, g. Say that with me one more time. K, a, g. Put it together. Good. Cag. That's a made-up word. That's a nonsense word. All right, how about our next one? Tell me the first sound of all of these. Good, it's d, ah, s. Say those with me. D, ah, s. And then put them together. Good. DOS. One more time. DOS. All right. And our last one. Good. First sound, so it's a. Put them together. Af. All right. Nice job, class.